So it's like, why do all these people have ties to Israel? And
Because they're Jewish. You see,
Yeah.
to be honest, I would do the same thing. Let's say I'm a Lithuanian, right? I came here, let's say I'm a billionaire once again. If my country needs money because of the Russian aggression, Latvian aggression, Polish, you name it, of course I would raise money and send a lot of money to my country. If that's true, but if my own country would be the aggressor, right? I would say, hold on, guys. If you want to attack, if you want to provoke the attack, I'm not going to fund you. I'm not going to, as a billionaire, I'm not going to send you even a dime, and I'm not going to raise you a single penny for you. If the premise is my country is being attacked, I would do the same thing. But once again, they're doing this for decades and for billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
It seems like for those 50 to 60 to 70 years, they would have to arrange kind of a system of the way how they protect themselves, but they still have to get money from a side.
Right.
You're always depend on other countries, which is very not convenient.
And like the United States.
Correct.
Like we are, I mean, they need to be weaned off the, you know what? It's like a mother breastfeeding baby Israel. Like we've funded them more than any other country.
Over
Given
those,
them the most amount of money.
Over those all years.
And people get really mad at that statement. Well, they'll say, but that's our ally. But what has Israel done for the United States of America?
They're going to tell you that you share the same values, Judeo-Christian values. I would argue that Judeo values are not the same as the Christian values. Because even if you read only the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, your values are not the same as mine if I read the Bible. Because you have to stone the gays, adulterers, etc. if you live by the Old Testament, which is written in Deuteronomy and Leviticus. But if you read the New Testament, Jesus Christ says, love your God and love your neighbor as yourself. So you would never stone yourself. You would love anybody, if that's a trans person, if it's a gay person, if that's a thief, adulterer, and etc. So this is the premise. But at the same time, I would say, if the U.S. stop funding Israel and Israel is about to be destroyed, I would say, of course, in my opinion, Israel has to be. There is a place for Israel to be right there, especially for Jewish people. But at the same time, once again, for 70 years, you still need money. So maybe you should figure out some kind of ways to have some partners in the Middle East that would help you protect you from all the aggressors, and you will help them to do business or something else. Because you have this 60 years, right? It's not a decade.
Yeah, so that's interesting too. It's like, is Israel an infant, an adolescent, a full-grown country? Like, where are they in their development? Because it's just in, like our parents' lifetime that they have come into existence. They're a very young country. Yeah, so at what point is it your responsibility to be self-sustaining? And like you said, it's your job to befriend the neighboring countries around you, but you are constantly at war there.
Constantly. Yeah, the history shows us, yes.
Yes.
Palestine, Yemen, right? Jordan, other countries. Now they're friends with Egypt. Now they're friends with the Saudis and maybe a few other countries. But Iran is the biggest threat. So it's a very complicated topic, I want to say.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Yeah. In some ways, it's kind of like, whew, okay. We get close to it.
I just feel like those billions that are being raised and sent to Israel are the people of Israel, Jewish people, don't feel it because the October the 7th happened. If you have all those billions, that the October the 7th should have never happened. Right.
Well, and it's obvious to me that like they stood down on that attack. And you know how they're said that allegedly they're like, that was our 9/11.
With the best intelligence, and they waited for hours and hours and hours.
None of it makes any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And they don't want to answer those questions.
Right.
Like, answer those questions to the world community.
Yes.
So we would, so this is what happened on October the 7th. I would fund. That's why I would fund and send money to you, for you to not experience the October the 7th for the second time, right? But they do not answer those questions at all.
Right. So my question yeah, from afar, I don't have the answers. I only have questions. That's,
Me too.
That's what gets me at the table. I don't have answers, but I have questions.
Curiosity.
Exactly. And so my question, if you live in Israel, and I know some people who do.
I do as well.
Yes. And what do you think of your government? Are
Correct.
they
That's a good
protecting
question.
you? Like, how do you feel about it? Or are you just like, what helps me sleep at night, and this is where I've kind of landed, is there's only a small percentage of people that will actually, in the whole world, admit what's actually going on in all areas, like in medicine, in the skies, what our wars are about, all of it. So even if you live there, you may not think twice to be like, oh, they're fine. They love me. They'll just blow it off like, this is good for me and that thing's good for me. Am I making any sense?
It's very convenient. So if you are a president of let's say president of the European country or of the United States, you only have 2 times, right? You have to be a president for 8 or 10 years. It depends on the constitution of your country. Mm-hmm. But if you're a prime minister, so you can serve your country for decades. This is what this guy has been doing from the early 2000s, right?
Netanyahu?
Correct.
Yeah. Yes. How long has he been? Ooh, can I look it up?
No limits.
Real quick?
I want to say he was the guy that in 2003 said that 2003 he said that there is weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, right? That's why they have to intervene.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, he was born in 1949. He served as a prime minister of Israel since 2022, having previously held the office from 1996 to 99, and then from 2009 to 2021. Wow. Longest serving prime minister in Israel's history, over 17 years. Wow, that is a long time. Do you know I just learned that he changed his last name and he's actually Polish?
Excuse me, who? Polish? Okay. What's his last name? What's in the first place?
I wish I had written it down. It's out there and I could get back to you.
Why do they change the last name?
Yeah. What's going on? They own it all. What are you doing to American children? And just going down that line of like the Clintons being just pure evil. You need to leave us alone and you need to pack up and you need to get out of here. These elite families, they always change their names. Like, we don't really fully know and understand how pervasive this has been. Is a horrible human being.
The new COVID is Zionism right now. Would you say the same thing? Because you can't talk about it. You're going to be banned, canceled.
Well, why am I not allowed to talk about that? Yeah. Well, I'm just going to talk about it even more then. Government in California hates us. They hate sovereignty or freedom of free thinking of any kind.
Once again, you're not suicidal. Neither am I.
Yes.
We're just curious. We're just asking questions.
Do you know I just learned that he changed his last name and he's actually Polish?